Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is the only podcast that gives you a raw and unfiltered perspective of what it's really like to be a professional cheerleader. Whether you're currently on a pro team, an alumni, or really curious about what it takes to become a pro cheerleader, the Pro Cheerleading Podcast gives you all the inside scoop and hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry and in-depth interviews of team directors, choreographers, current and former cheerleaders. I'm your host, Mhkeeba. Join me every Wednesday as I reveal the truth behind the poms. Hey you guys, welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This episode is called Fitness, which is a song by Lizzo. I know you guys have to be Lizzo fans out there. She was been killing it, racking up awards. I can't honestly say that I'm like 100% feeling the song, but I do love the challenge of trying to come up with an episode title that is so on point. And today we are definitely going to be covering all things that you guys have been writing in about, how to get your body right, different ideas of workouts, etc. Today we're interviewing a good friend of mine. We had our rookie year together with the Seahawks. Her name is Kelsey Pesola, and she is fabulous. Well, she's in fabulous shape. It's just ridiculous. Fabulous person inside and out. And she also is a trainer. I have worked out with her, and she has officially kicked my butt to no end. But she has such a great way of motivating her clients, and I just couldn't wait to talk to her about just some pointers for all of us. I mean, the struggle is real, and it's audition season, so I call it like get it tight, get it right, but we're going to figure out how to get our lives together. But first, before Kelsey joins us, we got to go through some cheer chat, but just know that all the questions that you sent in, I'm going to pop them to Kelsey, and we're going to get some answers, so stay tuned for that. So first thing up on cheer chat really is just, I'm just going to say it, the coronavirus. Seattle, Washington somehow has become like the epicenter of the coronavirus here in the U.S. And I've been trying to follow, but all it does is stress me out. So all I'm going to say to that is stay healthy, wash your hands, don't touch your face. I mean, that's hard as hell. I'd touch my face a million times a day. But not sure if things will ever be canceled around that in terms of auditions. The NBA is sending out notices to the Players Association around contact with fans because of the coronavirus. So it's kind of real. Definitely take care of yourselves and disinfect like crazy. I don't have it, even though I was sick last week, I promise. And you can't get it from listening to a podcast episode, thank God. But you know what? When I was thinking of Cheer Chat, how did I just miss all of Black History Month last month? I mean, getting the podcast started again and things were going on with being sick. So I just completely missed the boat in talking about it. So what we're going to do is a very belated Black History Month shout out to the different teams in the NBA that had like an HBCU themed performance night. I've been clocking it all on Instagram and watching, but I just wanted to give some shout outs because the Wizards dancers, they perform with Howard University. It's their Bisonets Dance Ensemble. Did a great routine. I should just repost and reshare things that I just am so impressed by. The Wizards always kill it, but I just really like the way that they partnered with, the local HBCU in the area. For people who don't know what HBCU is, it's can I speak English? It's historically Black colleges and universities. And so the Brooklyn Nets also did a halftime performance with the Brooklyn United Marching Band and the Untouchable Movement Dance Company. Really nice video capturing them working together, but it's just really inspiring, and it's a great opportunity for people to get exposure, for these dance teams and dance ensembles, in front of an NBA audience. And then I noticed that the Charlotte Honeybees, they did an appearance and performance at the CIAA cheerleading competition and also did some recruiting while they were there. And so the CIAA is the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. It's the oldest African-American athletic conference and one of the largest in Division II schools. So they have a cheerleading competition, and I just think it's great to show support and to do some recruiting while you're there. I mean, obviously, they're amazing dancers, a completely different dance style in some ways for some of the programs. If you want to hear more about it, then you have to go check out our Morris Brown episode where we interviewed Deanna Hazley. Deanna was a dancer for the Howard University Ooh La La dancers, and so it was just a really cool episode hearing more about that style of dance and how it translated into her performing with the Cincinnati Bengals. So anyway, shout out to all the teams that did a little HBCU themed celebration. And I will try to be more on top of my game. It's March, it's Women's History Month, and so I'll be digging up some historical facts and posting it randomly so that we can kind of understand the great women that have paved the way in the pro cheerleading industry. So I won't miss the boat this time. So, listener questions. People have been writing in, and thank you for communicating and kind of letting me know what you're curious about. People definitely want to know for Oakland Raiders. Oh, God, we can't say Oakland anymore. For the Las Vegas Raiders, there are so many favorites out there. Somebody shouted out Shasha. Okay, you guys, I've been working so hard lately at work, and it's frying my brain cells. But somebody shouted out Sasha, who obviously was just a Pro Bowl cheerleader this past January for the Raiderettes. And, people want to see you guys come back to the team. And so I know you may not know enough information at the moment, but when you do, I think it'll be really cool to get a glimpse into what that process is like, or maybe even what you're planning to do around it. Again, hopefully we'll get an interview with someone who's going through the process or have gone through the process of relocating and auditioning for another team. So let us know how you guys are making out. There are people writing in and wanting to interview you guys around that. So the other question that came up was what's going on with the XFL. So I know Seattle has a team, Seattle Dragons, I guess, and they have their games at CenturyLink just like the Seahawks did. I have not gone to a game, but honestly, when I found out they didn't have cheerleaders this time around, I was kind of like, well, it's exciting to see a different form of football, but I didn't really want to go after that. But curious for some other people what it's like if you've gone to see a whole football game played with very little entertainment other than like a drum line or something like that. I kind of was a little turned off with the way they talked about it when they were launching the XFL this time around, because if you remember, I don't remember how many dang on years ago, when the XFL first came out and they had cheerleaders and their whole marketing stick around their cheerleaders was just super racy. They had the hoochie mama outfits and just, it wasn't tastefully done. They promised to have a sneak peek in the girls' locker room. They encouraged the girls to date their players. It was just kind of like Girls Gone Wild. It was super WWE, just tacky. No offense to WWE fans, but totally different way of marketing their cheerleaders. And so I think they were trying to move completely away from that because of what woman is really going to go for that these days anyway, but they decided not to have any cheerleaders at all. They probably could have found a happy medium, but they don't have cheerleaders, and I don't think their ratings are doing that well, not that just because of us not being out there, but obviously it'll be interesting to see how they fare out and if they decide to add cheerleaders maybe later after they've, removed themselves from that horrible image that they had of having cheerleaders before. But there's another answer to a listener question. What else am I obsessed with right now? Okay, let's talk, because this is a fitness episode and you have to have your body right for auditions, but very quickly after you make the team, ladies and gentlemen, there are often fitness and swimsuit shoots immediately following, like once you make the team. So I thought it was pretty interesting that the New England Patriots cheerleaders, they are advertising on their site that fans can join them for a week. It's like a VIP fan appreciation week in the Caribbean. It's at some resort in Turks and Caicos. How fabulous is that? You guys make the team. I know they had auditions, and that's what I was doing on the website. But then I saw, that they were promoting this huge trip for fans, and it's basically got a bunch of fan events, tailgating parties, meet and greets, autograph signings, and everything where they interact with the cheerleaders while they're shooting their calendar shoot there. So it's like, I don't know, $1,300 per person, but it obviously really cool if your families could join you if you make the team. But, there's dance performances, volleyball games with fans versus cheerleaders, just all kinds of fun activities. So I thought that was pretty unique. Hopefully they don't get weird fans to join them for that. But a really cool way to open it up to have a little bit more interaction with the fans around those trips. Those trips just seem super fabulous. It seems a little like it might take away from some of the bonding that might happen on those trips because you're working. Like if you're interacting with fans that much, then you're definitely on the entire time. But, it's a job. You're there to work. It's not a vacation. But best of luck to everybody who's auditioned for the Patriots, and you're hopefully in the semifinal rounds. And the Baltimore Ravens cheerleaders auditions are this weekend. This episode, like I said, is just going to try to open up the conversation around what you really have to do to get yourself in shape for auditions, how important, your cardio is for stamina so that you can handle just the auditions process itself can wear you out if you're not in shape. So can't wait to get into this interview with Kelsey. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, you guys, I have Kelsey Pesola here with me today for this fitness episode, and I'm just so excited. We're in this very zenful room with mood lighting and we're all cuddled up on this couch, so I might sound super like chill right now. And that's Kelsey's persona. She's very chill and down to earth, but I'm so happy to have you, Kelsey.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So
Yes.
grateful for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh, you have so many jewels of wisdom to share, and everybody's been wanting to hear everything from you. But let me give everybody a little taste of who you are, how we know each other. So we go back, I don't want to count, but like 2011 was our rookie year together. And Kelsey, you guys has been on the team with the Seattle Seahawks for 9 consecutive seasons, like literally 9 consecutive seasons. So clearly you have auditions down pat, but we came to know each other from our rookie year. And I mean, obviously I took a year off from, well, not took a year off. I mean, I got cut, but let's be real. But made it back, and then we just had some great time, and you've continued doing it and almost reaching a decade on the team. I'm just so proud of you. I just can't believe that you've done it so well and so long, and just the ultimate Seahawks cheerleader, one of my favorite people. So I'm so thankful that you wanted to come chat. Kelsey, you went to Seattle U for undergrad, right? Mm-hmm. What did you study?
I studied sport and exercise science.
So this has been your life for like forever then?
Forever, yeah.
How long have you been a trainer?
I've been a personal trainer for 9 years. I actually started as a senior doing an internship for a small studio that focused on personal training and exercise prescription, which I think is often a lost art.
So what does that mean exactly?
So exercise prescription is focusing on that individual's needs and truly creating a workout that's going to help either fix imbalances they have, because let's face it, that's life. We get injured or we slouch from sitting at a desk or our car all day, and our body naturally creates these imbalances that make it move less efficiently. So what we optimally would like to do as a personal trainer or an exercise physiologist is to look at how someone's walking, look at how they're moving, and figure out what compensations their body are doing.
Are making, that makes sense.
So that we can fix them, make their body working as efficiently and effectively as possible so that they can go out and enjoy their life.
So that means like from our rookie year that you have been kind of being a personal trainer the whole entire time. And who are your clients normally? Are they kind of people who've been injured? Are they older? Are they people like us that just are trying to get our lives together before auditions? Like, who are your clients?
Such a good question. I've been so lucky to get a wide spectrum of clients. So I've had everyone from even high school athletes pursuing their sports, wanting to optimize their chances to get into a college and continue playing their sport and compete at the highest level. I've gotten to work with women in their 20s and 30s, right? Just wanting to be their best selves from the inside out. And then I've gotten to work with everyone up to even in their 80s that are just
so cool.
fighting to live the strongest, healthiest life they can till the end. And so there's been lots of injuries in there. I've learned that we really have a gap in our society in terms of if someone gets injured, they go to physical therapy, they do just enough to be considered healthy and functioning, and then they don't really know where to go from there. So often they never really fully strengthen that body part back up to where it was before.
Got you. They just kind of focus on the injury and
get through the injury, heal the injury, but it doesn't quite get back to where it was before for most people. And so I often am helping someone with those imbalances that was from a knee injury that was over 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh. And trying to work through.
And trying to work through those things.
Because that's crazy how your body does like overcompensate. So like if you have something going on one side and then your body starts favoring it in a certain kind of way, and so you're having to like undo those habits that have formed essentially.
Interesting.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah, so I've gotten
and Kelsey's super hot, you guys. So there's also the category of guys who just want to come and train underneath you so that they can stare at your beautiful face all day.
Okay.
I mean, let's be real. No, you have it sounds like an awesome client base and people that you've actually been able to help and change lives. I mean, that's why I was drawn. So Kelsey's kicked my ass in a group session in such a gentle way, but I love the way that you are just very quiet in your leadership and the way that you kind of coach people through the workout. And I can only imagine how you work with just the variety of people that you just mentioned. Like, that's great because you're helping people, Kelsey. And you're going to help people today, okay?
Yes, that is what we're here for.
Help us, Kelsey. Help us. No, so, I mean, it's great to hear. Like, you have an extensive background, obviously, in doing this. So you know your stuff. Okay, so rookie year, you come in and you obviously are in shape then, right?
Yeah.
So was it really easy for you to kind of just make that transition? I mean, you had danced, obviously, when you were in school, but, like, was it anything that you actually had to work at to have the body of a professional cheerleader? Or was it kind of like, I woke up like this?
Right. So, funny story. Well, one, I didn't actually start dancing until college. So I had been dancing for 3 years. So I was still pretty green.
Okay.
And I like to say that I think Sherry took me on for my potential of what I could be as a professional athlete and NFL
I think
cheerleader.
I made it under the potential affirmative action program for sure.
And which I'm so grateful for having her given me that opportunity and seeing what we had to offer.
Yeah.
The potential. It's ladies, it is all about potential. If you got potential, you got something.
Exactly.
So coming in, I came in as an athlete and tried to use that to my advantage as much as possible, but still hadn't honed in on exactly what it was to be a professional dancer, and I think it probably took me 5 or 6 seasons really to even come close to perfecting that, and I am still perfecting it each season.
Oh my God.
But in terms of the body aspect, I came in, I did all the workout routines, the eating properly to come in as aggressive as I could and give myself the best possible chance, to make the team.
Right.
In my eyes. And so I make the team, and my natural tendency when I get really busy and stressed is my body will tend to lose weight. So we were getting ready to shoot the calendar, and
yes, because that happens like, as soon as you make the team, right?
Yeah, like weeks.
Yes.
Yep, we get started right away with that. So Sherry was going to put me in a bikini, which I was so excited, right? Because I'm like, yes, this is what I do. Like, I'm
Here you
fitness.
go. Voila.
Here it is. And day of shooting calendar, she says, well, we're actually not going to put you in the bikini. That's it. Like, you're too skinny, not shooting you. And she goes off to deal with the next girl and whoever was shooting at that moment. And that's how Sherry is. She's quick, to the point, dry, no fluff. And so
she gives it to you raw.
Yep.
I mean, it's like truth behind the palms. I mean, you know, you may not get the explanation and backstory, especially in the heat of the moment.
Right.
So all you got was...
You're too skinny
okay.
to be in a bikini. So we're not shooting you in the bikini.
Was that the first time that you had ever been told you're too skinny?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And so that shook my world, especially with thinking, I mean, I had grown up an athlete my whole life. And so my goal was to be strong. It wasn't necessarily to be skinny. It was to be strong and fit. Like, I enjoyed having a six-pack. I enjoyed having muscles show.
Right.
So, yeah, that shook my world. And
were you like, so what do you want me to be, like chunky? Or like, what is the proper, like, how did you calibrate of like, okay, if this is too skinny, what did you do to kind of make sense of what she wanted from you?
Right. Well, what's wonderful about Sherry is she truly does care about the girls. She loves the girls. She loves the program. And she wants us to be our best selves. So she did pull me aside probably later that week at practice really quick and just said, you know what, I get it. I was the skinny girl too, and it blew my mind when I was told I was too skinny. But really what I'm asking is just 8-10 more pounds, which would have only put me at 108. She kind of gave me a ballpark figure of what she thought I would look healthy at.
Okay.
And she just wanted me to portray health and have a strong female
womanly body.
A womanly body.
Okay.
That's exactly it. And while it may have shook my world at the moment, it was life-changing for me. Mm-hmm. Strong had always been my goal, but sometimes you get lost with how you self-critique yourself, right?
Oh, like for sure. I mean, that's our industry where, I mean, you're going to be just not necessarily having the best view when you look in the mirror. You're always thinking of how you can look better.
Right.
Fix this, fix that, you know what I mean? But trying to shift that perspective mm-hmm. of criticizing your every inch and crevice and nook and cranny to just what's the best version of you? Like, what does that look like? I mean, right. Yes, you're trying to meet an ideal image for maybe your team or your director maybe, but there's also a bit of like, what do you think is best for you? Like, what is your healthiest version of yourself that you can be?
Yeah. For me personally, it was something that changed. It evolved, right? Okay. Over time, we're constantly evolving. So I hit 108. I actually got a personal trainer myself at the time.
Oh, okay. Is it hard to train yourself? Or you just kind of wanted to get some outside coaching?
Sometimes it's just nice to get that outside filter, right? Someone else to come in and be like, okay, I know you see yourself like this, kind of like what Sherry did for me, right?
Right.
And the trainer at the time was a guy who was into bodybuilding, mm-hmm. But super smart, really knew what he was talking about. And I saw him and I was, I think, around 110 pounds. And he was like, you know what? Like, you'd look really good at 115, 120. I thought he was crazy.
Yeah. You know, our listeners are going to range the gamut. So we're going to get to people who really are not in this category of like gain more and you're in the other end of the spectrum where it's like cut down. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy to think of what your body can actually do in terms of transforming, and gaining weight is not always very easy to do, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, especially when you're in season and you don't have the luxury of just
getting a new uniform.
Kind of getting that too. Of just kind of putting on weight and then stripping it off. But I think the biggest takeaway is it starts with changing your mindset and changing how you view yourself. And I think it's easy as a dancer, as a cheerleader, as a model, it's easy to get, or even just as an everyday woman, mm-hmm. right, in our culture.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in smaller is better, skinnier is better.
Right.
And we get so focused on how can we eat less, how can we be smaller, how can we cut off inches, as opposed to how can I build a strong body from the inside out? How can I fuel my body to give it what it needs to create this lean, dense, strong,
solid physique? Yeah.
That not only works for you to do what you need to do, whether it's just everyday life, whether it's your skiing weekends with your family, or whether it's
chasing
your
after
career.
Toddler,
yeah,
or,
exactly.
Know what I mean?
Yes, chasing after kids, or your career as an NFL cheerleader. I think the biggest thing that I try to push onto my clients and help them embrace is that it's about building a strong body from the inside out. And to get that leaner look, that means building muscle. And that often means putting on weight, right? Because muscle
Okay, we're going to pause on that. So, I mean, I've been out of the game for a minute now, but I do feel like when I was just like floundering around trying to figure out what do I need to do, and it was always around making weight, that I would often be doing things that would actually work the opposite, the effect that I wanted, which was like my muscles would react in a way where I would end up putting on weight versus losing it. And I'm like, this is just not part of the program that I was signing up for. But that's important. So like, depending on what your approach is, you can actually put weight on versus take it off. Do you think there's a benefit to, like you mentioned, going to see your own like personal trainer that can give you that analysis of your body in a way where you can at least not even target, because I wish you can just say, this is the only thing I want to change and leave everything else the same. I've had that conversation before. It's like, yo, I'm pretty much happy with everything else. It's my gut. Let's just focus on that. And that doesn't really always work that way. But, you know, I just think having that trainer or somebody that can talk to you and be like, okay, if that's what you'd like to focus on as core strength, then I can develop something around that for you. Do you think that's what some people might benefit from. Having a trainer that we can give a little bit more of an individualized view of what they might need to do rather than just go to the gym and pound it out and you're doing the wrong things that end up working against what your goals are.
Definitely. I mean, what's so great about our world today is we have so much information at our fingertips. Right. All we have to jump on to is Google, or we can just say, "Hey Siri."
Right? Where's an app for abs?
But I think the hard thing is that because there is so much information, it's hard to decipher what's true, what's not true, what's better for you, what, you know, what's going to work. And so I think that's where having a personal trainer or going to even like a nutritionist, but just some sort of professional in that field or spectrum is going to help, because they're going to help figure out what your goals are and what's going to actually work for you, as opposed to you trying to reach and grasp and cherry pick little things, because that's where you get into trouble, right? Because there's so many fad diets out there. If you try and cherry pick having low carbs here and low fats here, or whatever it may be, or this juice cleanse,
right?
But then you jump onto
or just
whatever
different
it
exercise
is.
programs, like you know, I'm gonna hit up Soul Cycle and just hope that just does it. Or girl, let me tell you how I this is how clueless I was, but this was from me trying to come back onto the team after being cut and having a year off, and I definitely enjoyed life and enjoyed food, and I don't think I maybe had gained 10 pounds or so. But I was just I kind of was feeling myself. I liked my body, and I got way, like, totally just disoriented from where I needed to be to go to show up at auditions. But I was just like, okay, this bar class thing that everybody's talking about, I'm just going to start going to bar class, and I'm going to get ready for auditions. Girl, I mean, bar is great, but that really was not the program that I needed to be on, and to actually see a difference in the way that I was burning. It wasn't, girl, that was just not the move. I didn't know that it wasn't, and I spent a lot of time going to those classes, and it felt great, and I was, you know, feeling strong in my legs and this and that, but it really wasn't doing anything for me in terms of what I needed to peel off of me in terms of weight. So I just think if you're picking something that sounds good in the moment, or it's really popular, it might not actually be an exercise program that really suits your goals.
Right. Definitely.
And it takes a trainer then. I mean, for the record, people, like, I think you might just want that consultation, especially if you're on a Get It Together program that's like for auditions. You can just say, right? Like, can't people come to you and be like, here's my goal. I have such and such in 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I need to be at this shape, or these are the problem areas that I'm trying to work on. And then you kind of can help develop something for them. Is that how it goes?
Yep, definitely.
Literally.
Yeah. And that's such a good point. I love that you are bringing up that as great of a workout as bar can be, right? Yeah. That wasn't where you needed to be. Mm-hmm. And what I guess would say to that, just kind of on an overall note, because we're obviously going to dive deeper as we go in here. But on an overall note, if you are just working towards an overall healthier body, toning, if you have the luxury of time, yes, by all means, go out, try different workouts, try a strength training group workouts, you know, try something like bar. Maybe you do a boxing class or yoga. Like, do something that you're going to enjoy doing. If it's a matter of just getting started, find something that you're going to enjoy doing so that you can stick with it, whatever it is. But if you are someone who is 4 weeks out or 6 weeks out from auditions and it is crunch time, it's game time now, then definitely reaching out to a professional and
get you a
investing in yourself and your goals, that's going to be the way to go.
I would agree. I would totally agree, because I just didn't realize how much I was fumbling around in the fitness area until I got the first trainer that my job paid for. But I mean, you're right. It's an investment that you make in yourself. So, you know, there are rates obviously for personal trainers, but it just seems like you said, if you're really in that thick of it, like you've been doing a little something here and there, but you actually need to buckle down, then consulting a professional might help you. Go and pay and get your ass kicked. It's worth it. It's worth it. But what would you say that people should like look for when they are selecting a personal trainer? I mean, is it kind of like bargain basement trainer? I don't mean to sound that way.
No, yeah.
I consider you like high-end trainer versus like, you know, some pick of the dozen trainers that are like some biff guy at a LA Fitness kind of trainer.
Right. No, I hear what you're
saying.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it, but I'm kind of like, how do you pick one?
I hear what you're saying, and I actually have I've had memberships to LA Fitness and Golds and 24 Hour Fitness, so I totally get what you're saying about these big box gym trainers that have a lot of trainers that come in and out really quickly, right? A lot of turnover.
Right.
And so I've seen it all, right? I've seen the trainer I worked out with for a year was at Gold's. He was fantastic, loved him. He moved to a more private studio. Gym. And then I tried another trainer, did 2 sessions with him, and was like, nope, this isn't.
Well, sometimes, let's be real, these are, you know, probably amazing looking women or men out there that probably are going to experience what I call just kind of like the mating grounds of gyms, where you might encounter somebody that doesn't really take your needs or your goals seriously enough because they might be trying to hit on you. I mean, that's the reality of it.
That could be a thing, or it could be someone who just likes working out, and one of the managers at the gym was like, hey, have you thought about training?
And they're not even really qualified to do
And so then
they
go get a quick little certification.
Okay.
So I would say there's certain certifications that I would take more seriously than others.
Ooh, share.
ACSM is a great one.
Okay.
CSCS.
What do those things stand for?
So ACSM is American College of Sports Medicine.
Okay.
And they would just have these little notes, just kind of like a doctor has all their like MD on their business card.
Okay.
They would just have their certifications listed. So that's one way to go. But honestly, I would say if you've never had a personal trainer before, go and try a couple of them out, because the first session is almost always free.
That's true.
100%. And I would look for someone who takes the time to listen to you, listens to your goals, make sure that you're heard and understood, doesn't spend a lot of time talking about themselves.
Say that, yeah.
And I always cringe when anyone says that you're doing it wrong, like, or that there's a right way to do something.
In terms of the exercise itself?
In terms of the exercise.
Okay.
Because when it comes to exercises, there's a more efficient and effective way to target the muscle that you are wanting to work.
Pause there, because I'm just thinking of our training session where I was doing a plank, and planks are one of my favorite exercises, but you know, I'm holding this plank, you guys, and I swear I'm like doing it. I'm like, ooh, Kelsey, look at me, because I'm like, you know, I was thinking I'm holding it long, killing it. And then she comes over in her ever so quiet, gentle way and does something to adjust me. And then it became a whole different effort exercise. I was just like, what the hell did she just do to me? And it just changed the whole game. And like, you could tell that I obviously was holding something, but it really wasn't getting the most of the exercise. But that's the kind of adjustment, without you saying like, girl, you are doing it all wrong. I mean, you just kind of fix it or show the right form.
Right. Or a better form or a safer form
for you to not injure
target,
yourself.
right, what you're trying to target. But it's always hard for me when someone says, no, you're doing it wrong, or that's not the right way to do it, because then it makes me feel like they're in the mindset of, I know everything. And while I want a trainer that's going to be knowledgeable, I don't want one that thinks that they know everything.
Yeah. And it's so easy, too, for people who don't know what they're doing to kind of, you're putting your trust in somebody that might know more of what they're talking about. But it's also such, like, when you're working out, it can be a very difficult mental space to be in, because you're like frustrated that you let yourself even get to this point of like needing to work out this hard. And then, you know, you're battling a lot of that while you're just trying to get through a workout. And if somebody's criticizing the way that you're actually progressing through a workout, that would that can also just shut you down, I think. And sometimes you don't get that individual attention. Like if you're in a bar class, or I'm not going to pick on bar at all, but like just different classes, or even yoga, which I wanted to try. But if you don't come over and adjust me, I'm probably doing the whole class wrong and not getting anything out of it. But you want somebody that's encouraging and not just like critiquing how you're doing it.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, trainers have different styles, and people respond better to different styles, right? So some people like the big, loud,
yelling at you,
drill sergeant feel.
I do not.
Some people don't, right?
Yeah,
so it's also a matter of just seeing what is going to help motivate you, what's going to make you feel best when you go in to work with this person. So it's kind of like dating.
Oh my gosh.
Go out and find the best trainer for you.
Oh my God, it must be hard out there. No. But I mean, I'm thinking that maybe a female trainer would be, or maybe you do focus on female trainers, you know, just as a way, if you are concerned about certain like connection around the goals, or somebody that understands what you're trying to go for. Sounds like dating, but it's an investment. I do want to harp on that because, I mean, we've talked on the podcast about, you know, there's dance training courses and, you know, audition prep and all that kind of stuff where they are taking a more holistic approach to preparing you for auditions. But say you aren't in one of those audition prep programs, but you have been dancing on your own and working out on your own, but not really seeing the results that you need or want, then it's probably worth looking into trying to get some specialized
attention and help for sure. Yeah.
Because, I mean, Kelsey's given us the jewels, and we will get into your questions, but, you know, there's something to be said for somebody to be able to look at you and understand, like you said, like, maybe they're out of balance and, like, they need core stuff more so than, like, I don't know, whatever they think they need to work on.
Right.
God, there's so many things I could just go on and on and on about.
We might have to make this a several episode meeting.
Seriously. Because, I mean, what would you say are, you know, you've lived the life of an NFL cheerleader for, you know, 9 seasons. What would you say are kind of like the key areas that people should at least focus on in their workout regimen? Like, is it core? Is it the things that will help you get through a 4-hour game? Like, what do you think are like the top areas that are kind of like must-haves of like, this is part of your workout regimen that you need to make sure that you do because it helps you do your job as a cheerleader?
Definitely. I 100% will stand by strength training.
Okay.
So actually using weights and focusing on building up that strong body.
Okay. And what are the benefits then of like weight training? Are you burning fat? Or what's happening? Or are you just struggling with something really heavy? Because in my mind, weight training for me, like, and it might be a myth, and I don't want to cut you off, but like when I think weight training, and this is just me being ignorant and not knowing any better, I just think bulky. Right. Like if I do weight training, 1, I'm going to lose my tits. And 2, I'm going to end up really buff and I'm going to put on weight. So for me, I always I'm very like no weights. But see, that's, you know, ignorant as hell. So what does it really do for you?
Right. And
I'm like, you don't know anything.
No, I'm so glad that you're asking that and that you're sharing that because that is the common view. And it always cracks me up because I'm like, man, like if you knew how hard it was actually to put on bulk in size, like I've been trying to put on bulk because I want these full, strong muscles. If you only knew. But it's funny because people will come into me, right, and talk and tell me their goals, and they're always like, well, I feel like I need to do more cardio because they want to lose fat, right, and they want to look skinnier or slimmer or tighter. And so what I'll often do is say, okay, do you want to look like someone on the cover of Runner's magazine, or do you want to look like someone on the cover of Shape, right, or Women's Health? And most of the time they say Shape or Women's Health. And at that point, that's where I remind them that, or maybe I'm telling them this for the first time, that those women have those nice, lean, slender bodies because they're using body weight functional movements and strength training. So they're actually using weights. It's using lighter weights, more reps. That's going to build in that more time under tension. So the advantage of using the lighter weights is we're able to work more of the range of motion. the full range of motion of the movement.
And so as opposed to struggling with a heavy ass weight.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for big, heavy weights if you're bulking, trying to put on that muscle, right? A bodybuilder or an Olympic lifter, awesome. That's right there. But for the majority of us looking for those tight, slender, athletic bodies, lighter weights, but still using weights.
Okay. Still using weights, lady.
Using weights. Using weights.
Okay.
That's going to build slender, lean muscle and body that people are that you're
really
for.
Wanting, right? Because we get what space we're in. You're in, these two pieces or different uniforms, and it's not so much like skinny is the goal, but like you said, you want to look toned. You don't want necessarily to have things moving around and, while you're jumping and doing all these different things. I mean, you just want to feel toned and in a good way, in the soft way where you still want to have your curves. That's the ideal, I would say, for the most part.
Right.
So weights is kind of
yes
where we need to be. Okay.
And then just figuring out the right reps and sets and
so when you said strength conditioning, I'm just trying to break down what these terms really mean, because not that people are just going to create their own little home workout or something like that, but is that different than what you're doing with the weights, or is it all kind of the same thing?
So strength training, that would be weight.
Okay.
Weight training.
Got
right.
you.
But kind of like I said, depending on the ultimate goal, it's going to change how heavy the weight is and how many reps you do and how many sets you do and how much rest time you have in between. During the off season, I like to go heavier with my weights. Well, first I have to rehab and recover, because let's face it,
you're
it
just
takes
broke
a toll
down by the end of the season. Yeah,
for sure. But I always look forward to going into the off season to getting to lift heavier, focus on building back that muscle density.
Okay.
But then as I'm in that kind of 4 to 6 week phase
before auditions
of prepping for auditions, I will switch over to lighter weights, higher reps, and less rest time in between. So it'll actually feel like a cardiovascular workout.
Okay.
But the benefit of keeping the weights in it is, one, anytime you do strength training, your muscles take 24 to 48 hours to recover, right? To repair, build, because what we're doing when we're doing strength training is we're making tiny little micro tears in our muscle fiber. And so you're actually breaking down the muscle tissue. So for the next 24 to 48 hours, our metabolism is revved up and our body is kind of working overtime to make those repairs to the muscles that we need. So you're actually continuing to burn calories.
Even when you're not.
Even after that workout.
Hey.
Versus, right? Hey, double bonus. So just remember that when you are struggling through that strength training workout, you are going to keep getting benefits long after you walk out of the gym. So just make it count.
Okay.
Versus cardio on the treadmill. You spend 20 minutes on the treadmill. The second you step off this treadmill, you're done burning calories.
Interesting, because that was one of the questions that came up from people, was just kind of like how much emphasis should really be placed on cardio? Like, is that the answer to everything in terms of burning? And it sounds like no, not really.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. So does like the strength training and all of that help in terms of stamina as well, or is cardio good for that piece of it?
So that's where I like to go. You can do the strength training with the lower weights and then even body weight and kind of more of like the full functional movement. So think about things that are going to get you off the machines.
Okay.
So you're not just targeting one muscle group, but you're targeting multiple muscle groups. So think of like a burpee squat.
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's
right. So we're jumping down into that plank position. We're jutting our feet out, bringing our feet back in, right? And then jumping up. We're working our shoulders. We're working our core. We're working our legs. You feel, right? You feel like you just did a sprint after that, but you're actually working the muscles.
And is that why you would have me like pushing that sled thing too?
Yes.
Those types of things. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a method to the madness. But no, so that's important, especially if you're used to a routine. You'll just kind of do what you've always done and probably get the same results. But I think when people are trying to think of what they could switch up in their workout, it sounds like things that will have you doing like engaging more body parts. This is not, obviously I'm not the expert on this, I'm trying to restate, but just something that is more like comprehensive in terms of what's actually getting worked in that exercise.
Yeah, think of like multifunctional movements, right? So multi-joint movements where you're not just isolating one muscle and one movement. That's great if you're really emphasizing trying to tone that. If you're trying to build those guns, like you do those bicep curls.
Right.
But if you're trying to maximize the work that you can get in a certain amount of time with a certain amount of exercises, then you're going to want to go for those full body movements. Obviously, like squats, lunges, Bulgarian squats.
What are those?
Just there's so many different variations of like leg exercises, and depending on how you're holding the weight, it's going to change how your core is engaged or which muscle is actually emphasized throughout the movement. But those are
so like if your legs are turned out a certain way or
yeah. Or
why am I having all these flashbacks of Kelsey's workout now? I'm like, I know what exercise she's talking about. No, but that's so good to hear though, because I think again, like if you're fumbling around trying to piece together a workout, because it's like, go to the gym. Okay, people go to the gym. What am I going to do here? I don't know. Get on the treadmill. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody. Maybe people are sophisticated out there. I don't know. But if you're just trying to piece together what sounds like a good way of working out, you probably can get more out of it if you're doing certain types of exercise that engage everything.
Yeah, like a full body. Think of doing a full body routine. We've gotten into this idea that a workout schedule should be split into muscle groups. So like a chest day, a leg day, right? Yeah. But where that actually comes from is a bodybuilder's routine,
because that's really when to isolate their body parts.
Gotcha. Exactly. And that's really when strength training came into kind of the forefront. It became a thing, right? Because in the 50s and 60s, strength training wasn't a thing.
Right.
Like it wasn't, people didn't just go to the gym for 2 hours to go build muscles. So when bodybuilding really kind of became a thing in the forefront of our society, their split is a chest day, a leg day. But that's because they're literally going in and working out their chest for 4 hours.
Jeez.
And then they're eating thousands of calories to help repair, but they're breaking that down to build that up, right? Eating a ton. So they actually need that week or that 4 days to recover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Kelsey.
Most of us aren't going to go throw around that kind of weight or spend that kind of time in the gym.
Yeah.
And so a better, more efficient, and more effective workout for us is going to be maybe you have an A day and a B day, right? So you have 2 workouts and you just flip-flop between the 2.
So that leads to like another question, I guess, because I was surprised that your sessions were 30 minutes. I mean, it did not feel... It went by super quick, but it felt like, oh my God, I feel like I've been working out for an hour. But how does that even work where you can just kind of, maximize a workout in a 30-minute time frame? I guess it's just what rest you're giving your body, I guess. But because maybe people are out there just spending too much time in the gym and really ain't getting shit out of it at the end of the day.
Definitely.
Okay.
Right. The gym ends up becoming a social thing, or we get on our phones in between exercises and
when
start
we need to be like hitting it again,
whatever it may be.
Got you.
And so when a client comes to me, I ask them, do you want to do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour? And when they say an hour,
you kill them
straight up. Right? I make them regret that they said an hour. No, totally kidding. I actually take the time to really have them reflect on what their goals are and what they're trying to get out of it. And I tell them that I usually suggest 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, because usually when people do an hour, if they're by themselves, it's easy to get distracted. Or even some trainers will end up talking to a lot. And so that's one of those things.
I've tried that with you. No,
right?
I'm kidding.
Right. That I'll go back to, just something to be aware of. How much time are you actually spending working out with your trainer versus them talking to you?
Yeah.
Because time is money, right? You're working hard for your money. Trainers aren't cheap. So, let's get the most out of your workout. So I like that 30 to 45 minutes. I think mentally it's easier for people to go in and think, okay, this is only 30 minutes. I am going to give every exercise everything I have.
Yeah.
And then I think they get more out of it that way.
I was shocked by that, frankly, because, you know, it seems like in your mind, like, oh, to get a decent workout, it's got to at least be an hour, you know, or that's just kind of like a cute number. Maybe, I don't know. But to think that, like I said, it didn't feel like 30 minutes when you're just trying to get through this dang on exercise or whatever you had us doing that day. But it did feel like compacted and really just like a good level of intensity where, no, you don't have like a whole bunch of breaks in time, but it wasn't one of those, when I think of HIIT with, again, my ignorant view of it, things, it always seemed like, you know, you're just jumping from freaking station to station, and it seems so like sporadic and like just all over the place. And I always thought, no HIIT for me, thanks. Like, I just there's too much going on. Like, I just want to do a couple exercises here and there. But again, this is just me making shit up and then thinking I'm going to get results from it. But how would you describe like your ideal workout? Is it HIIT? I have like no terminology here. Kelsey's looking at me like, not really, but yes.
So no, I'm so glad that you brought up HIIT, because that was one of those trend words, right, that came up and then kind of got used
very broadly.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So a HIIT workout stands for high intensity interval training.
Okay.
So it's that idea of getting that heart rate up, high intensity, doing it in intervals, right? Usually they have shorter rest periods, longer work periods, and that is a great option, right? Pending your goals.
Okay.
Definitely, there is a kind of a room and a space for HIIT.
Is HIIT good for people who are on the 4 to 6 weeks auditions bandwagon? Well, do you think HIIT could be effective?
I think it could be. I think it also kind of depends on how the workout is designed.
Right, because that's the thing. They can throw so many different exercises in that HIIT workout that might not really be what you need to do during that time. Yeah. This isn't all the benefits of like having a personal trainer then, because to have something that's more designed for what you're trying to do during that period or like what you're trying to target, and then having that HIIT workout be those types of exercises that'll do that for you.
Right. I guess the thing that kind of was trending is like, get your heart rate up, right?
And that
like,
you're burning at that point, right? Or
right,
something's good's happening
there.
That's
what they're saying. And it's totally good to get your heart rate up. When I design, like, for example, the 30-minute workout that you did, you probably noticed there was kind of a moderate heart rate zone, right? Like the sleds.
And it was
moderate.
And
then it gets up by the end. It definitely gets up there. But then I give you guys a couple of minutes to let that heart rate come back down.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like it was like that crazy run. Like, you know, I've seen too many commercials where it's just like they have you do something so like chaotic and sporadic to get that heart rate up.
Right.
And it's like, stop. And then it's like, go. You know what I mean? Like, and yours felt like more of like an even flow. Like, yes, it was building, but not in some like spike drop kind of a workout. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my preference, is to do something that is going to be a little more controlled, where yes, you're going to have those exercises where you feel that heart rate going up. And funny thing with the sled, you could either put on a bunch of weight and make it more about really burning out the legs, fatiguing the muscles, or you can put on less weight, make it more about doing a few more laps and getting the sprint in.
Got it.
Right? And then that becomes more cardio. So,
which, trust, I mean, so like for people who don't know, like the sled was like it's this thing that you're pushing across the gym, and with weights on it, I just knew there's no way in hell I could even go like halfway across. So when I was like excited that you took the weights off and let me just push the damn thing, but then when I started pushing it, I mean, I feel like I got just as much of a workout from not having weights on it as probably the people. It's just, you're just targeting different things.
Right. Yep, just targeting a little differently.
There's so many myths, man. Like, what are some of the other crazy, like, misconceptions that people have about fitness
and working out?
Yeah.
The idea that you can lose body fat in one area so that you can target. It's not a thing.
Kelsey, what do you mean? Really? Wait.
So, let's break it down, really. So, when we lose body fat, our body loses it as a whole. Okay. And it's going to do it to maintain center of gravity, right? So that means...
This part is going to be... Go ahead.
You already know what I'm saying. That means our core and our torso, or our legs, butt, hips, thighs, that's going to usually be the last to lose, right? The last to lose that last little bit. Yeah. Right? That's so often why people are like, it's my gut. Like, I'm okay with my arms or my legs or whatever, but it's my gut.
We can't just target the gut, Kelsey, is what you're saying? Like, wait.
So not with fat loss.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you can target muscles and body parts with building lean tissue. Okay. Right? So if we really wanted to focus on our legs, we could focus on tons of variations of squats, even some sprint work, right? And we could really build up, like, beautiful muscle in the thighs and, like, booty, right? And legs. Or for the abs, you could do planks or, like, hanging knee ups, right? Whatever crazy ab workouts you wanted all day. And that's going to help build the muscle. But unless you do the work to lose the fat that's covering the muscle, then
that's hanging out on top of the abs.
Then you're not going to get to enjoy the benefits of it. And so fitness is big part nutrition. Big part nutrition, especially the abs. That's why you often will hear abs are made in the kitchen.
I don't like that phrase, but okay.
I know. But here's something I'm going to tell you, right? Okay. Another misconception that comes is you're in that mindset, I want to get fit, I need to get skinnier, I need to lose weight, I need to tone up. Okay, fine, I'm going to have to go on this diet, and I'm not going to be able to eat any of the things I don't like, Right?
I'm going to have to give up all the things.
Totally.
No more pizza, no more, all of that.
And so often we get into this mindset of minimizing the calories, right? So we start with a certain amount of calories. We put ourselves on this strict diet, start with a certain amount of calories. We get frustrated because we don't see results in a couple weeks. So then we cut down the calories even more, right? Or we go more strict with the diet.
Yeah, crazy.
And we're still not seeing results. And then eventually we just cave and break, right?
Oh, okay,
and binge.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so 2 things I want to talk about there is, one, I try to push people to get out of that mindset of eating healthy means eating less and depriving yourself.
Say that, yeah.
So eating healthy is really about thinking about our body as machines and what we need to eat to fuel our machines, right? To fuel our body. And I think once people can switch into that mindset, then it's almost even easier to say no to that piece of cake or no to that glass of wine. I'm not saying you can't ever have those things. Right. I like to go by an 80-20. So 80% of the time you're eating what you're supposed to be eating, or 80% of the calories are on point. 20% is maybe that little glass of wine at the end of the week with your girlfriends, or that piece of cake at your little brother's birthday party, right? Or even just that little indulgence because you
just need it.
You
just need it, yeah.
Right? So that 80-20, I think, is just a really healthy balance that's gonna not leave you feeling deprived and then cave on the back end and really go off the wagon. Yeah. But then also, just like I said, changing that mindset to eating more of the right things as opposed to less of the wrong things.
Got you. Girl, you are just like rearranging my whole mental right now. But it's so easy to have the misconceptions. And I think there's plenty of information out there, but it sounds like want for me. Sometimes I'm try to avoid things that sound like, some latest trend. But I know that when I tried to call myself doing the little, I called it the bitch ass salad diet, but it was like, salads were like not my favorite like meal. So I didn't even really know what to put in the dang on thing. So I had like tuna fish, thinking protein. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Awesome protein. Yes.
But it was literally like lettuce, tuna fish, lemon pepper, and lemon juice squeezed from a lemon on it. But I tried to like act like that's all my body needed. And then I'm up here dancing and trying to get my behind ready for auditions. And I was just so low on energy, like so low on energy. And it makes sense now. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing and I still don't, but I probably just wasn't giving my body the right fuel.
Right. The right nutrients.
Like literally. And then you think like deprive, it means you're going to get where you need to go. And that's not true. Can we get back to how the body, you can't just target, just to make sure I get this right, because a lot of people did ask about like how do we target, you know, the tummy area, because that's like the part that's always on display for everybody to see. And
totally. And I am here to give you
tangible
advice for that. So if you are really focusing on the core, you're going to want to work on the core from a 3-part or 3-directional route. So think of your abs, right? Think of doing your core exercises from the bottom up, rotational, and then top down, right? So the bottom up are like your traditional kind of crunch. I would, if I were doing more of like a bottom up thing, I would get on a decline bench, so where my feet are higher than my head, and crunch up that way. So we can get that nice big full range as opposed to just working off the ground. Or a yoga ball, right? One of those round balls.
Where you're like having a, your back is rounded out.
Where you can get more of a range, crunch up, right? And then top, so that would be top down. Then you want to think bottom up, so those are like those knee raises, right? Or even if you're on your back doing like the leg lifts or the twists. Rotational is going to be like your Russian twists.
Oh, those are such bitches. I'm so sorry to curse, but those are hard. But they're doing something. But that's where you're like,
twists
with a weight, or just kind of
with a weight if that's where you're at. If it's just body weight, that's fine
with
too.
Just my body weight, thanks.
Or you could do like chops if you have a machine, and you can do kind of like a diagonal motion. But basically, think about hitting the abs diagonally, because we have obliques, right? So that's what's going to get us that nice kind of cut look on the side, right?
Yes.
But then just to tie it up with a little bow, because that's going to do a great job of hitting the core as a whole. But we're going to want to hit that nutrition, right? So that nutrition is what's going to get rid of that extra little stubborn fluff.
I call it the Ninja Turtle kind of shell on top of the abs, where it's like this extra layer of fluff.
Yeah. And so that's where like your processed breads, your pastas, refined sugars, alcohol.
Can we talk about that though? The alcohol part, because, and I mean, there's so many different factors, right? Like age plays a part, but I think because, we're all in our like, well, hell, not me, 20s, you're in your early stages in life, ladies and gentlemen, like 20s, 30s, where yes, it's probably a thing for you to just, think you can party over a weekend and drink and have a grand old time, or enjoy your wine after work every day. Who knows how often you drink it? Nobody's judging, but like that does impact you. It's not just what you eat, it's what you drink, I guess is the point, right?
Definitely.
Like, because I think I've seen, and again, I was older on the team. I made the team when I was 33. So, but just seeing the wide range of ages on the squad, and like, you can tell when people like freshly turned 21 and we're probably like starting to consume more alcohol, and then all of a sudden, the most prized area of their body is not, it's, I don't know where alcohol will just go, but it just seems like it sticks to people in a way that they probably don't register.
Right. Definitely.
It likes their guts.
It does. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Definitely. And then especially when you combine alcohol with like your carbs or your refined sugars or your
hangover
processed
food.
Yep.
The stuff you eat after you.
Exactly. Or even while you're consuming, right? Not a good combination. Your body is going to latch onto that and
hold on to it like a little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Quick. Yeah.
No, that's so good to think about, right? Because you might be doing or trying to do so many right things, and you could be doing something that's just like not helping and not realize it. Girl, what else are we forgetting about in terms of misconceptions? Because I do have listener questions. I think we've hit on a lot. But
I think those are
the big ones.
A couple of the big ones. So
okay,
but we can always dive into more.
Get a little deeper. Okay, I think you've touched on it, but like the first step, if you have been sloughing in the off season, I don't want to put a weight attached to it, like how much you've been sloughing.
Right.
But you
because
just
it could be different for everyone.
For everybody. But what would you say is the first thing to do, whether it's getting your mind right or just getting started? Because I think there could be so much stress around how the hell am I going to get ready for this? Like, what's a good first move so that you don't get frustrated and, cry?
Yeah, right? Because we've all been there.
Yes.
We've all been there.
Yes.
I mean, I went on vacation with my mom during the off season, and as you know, for us it's such a short off season.
Oh yeah.
And it was and we don't even really know when we're going to have tryouts exactly when we plan things.
Right.
So I had 2 weeks to get back into shape, or 2 weeks to jump into tryouts as my best possible. And of course I knew that I was going to be gone for 2 weeks in Italy, and so
the
I knew
land
I
of wine and bread and oh my gosh, all the things.
I did my best to prepare on the back end and get my body to the best it could be going into that trip. But still, 2 weeks of not having your normal eating, not having your normal training routine, and then having to go full head for only 2 weeks before you jump into tryouts. Like, I knew I needed to be on it. So I have been there. I would say, number one, get your mind right. Like, don't go down this trail of, I let all this time go by. Why did I put it off this long? How am I at this point? I was in so much better shape a month ago. Whatever it may be, like, get off that comparison train. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to where you were. If it is to where you were, use that as motivation, as I've been there. I know how to get there.
Right.
Not
versus,
how did I get here?
Because let's be real, like right now there's like audition prep courses happening and they're amazing to go to. But if you are that vet or someone that's, new to the program that's showing up for this thing and you haven't really been in the best of shape while you were in the off season, it's very intimidating to walk into that audition prep class and not already be audition ready. Like, depending on where you are, I know that's what it felt like. You better not show up into a prep class. You better not show up to a prep class. I mean, Sherry actually told me the year that oh my God, and I love this woman so much, but I know she meant well, but I was not ready. Like, I went to, maybe not the first one, but I went to the second one or something, because I was like, I'll let the overeager beaver show up for the first one. I'll just slide into the second one, and I still have time to get my life together. I knew I wasn't there yet, but I was like, I'm just still going to show up. And if this woman didn't say, sometimes people, take a year off and they come back and think they still have it, not in these exact words, but basically was kind of like, you're not there yet. Like, and so I don't know, like, you can get in your head, I guess, pretty easily is what I'm saying, especially if you show up to a prep class and you're not there yet. And so getting your mind into a space of
not guilting yourself, of not criticizing yourself. Like, it's not the time to be thinking of what you could have done, of what you should have done, of where you've been. It's the time to take a deep breath, come at it from a place of self-love, and be like, okay, this is where I'm at.
This is where I need to be.
This is where my goal is.
Okay.
I got this. Like, and then let's take a second and let's break down what we're going to need to do to reach that goal.
Okay.
And in doing that, I want people to focus on being process-oriented. So have process-oriented goals rather than results-oriented goals.
Oh,
does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah. So what would be an example of a process-oriented goal, especially for people who aren't working with a trainer?
Definitely. So if it's coming from, let's say, just from a physical standpoint, fitness standpoint, if you know you need to work on your flexibility, then my process-oriented goal would be, I'm going to stretch every time or every night before bed for 10 minutes as soon as I get out of the shower.
That's it.
Or I am going to go to yoga 3 days a week, and I'm going to actually, for me, I live by a schedule. I have so much going on. I have so many thoughts happening in my head at once. If I don't have a to-do list or a schedule, it's not going to happen.
Right. And I'm sure everybody can relate to that. That's how you survive.
Right.
This crazy life, right?
Especially if you're an NFL cheerleader, because you have another job. You have a life outside of that career, even though I always like to call it my part-time job with a full-time commitment, right?
Yes.
You know it.
Literally.
And so for me, when I'm doing that, when I'm creating my process-oriented goals and outline, I will literally pull up my yoga schedule. I'll have my work schedule next to it, and I will put in the yoga times and days in my work schedule. Like right then and there. Boom. Check that off the list. Okay, awesome. I have my yoga in. I also want to work on my fitness, right? I want to tighten up. I want to get my endurance up, because that's really what it is.
Yep.
Dancing is like running a 400, right? In track or an 800. Yes. It's a 2-minute sprint.
Literally.
That you have to make look really flawless and beautiful and effortless and fun when your lungs are on fire and your thighs are burning.
It's a sprint. That's such a good way to put it.
It's endurance.
Yeah.
And so then I would put, okay, I want to get in 3 solid strength training days, right? Like, and I'd put those in my schedule.
That's so helpful, though, because I think probably everybody's guilty of just focusing on the results-oriented goals. Right. And then whatever stress builds in your mind around how am I going to achieve that goal versus like thinking of it and what are the small steps that you can do to kind of work towards that. And like you said, building it into your schedule of like, whether that's your diet and what you're eating, like I'm going to make sure I drink this much water every day, or, you know, like that would be like an actual tangible something that you can do.
Right.
Yes, set the goal and set your schedule, but also showing up and doing it and honor and keeping it, right? Like being consistent with it and mapping it out down to the day of auditions. Like, all right, I'm going to do strengthening 3 times a week. I'm going to stretch and make sure my kicks are, or whatever. Right. Like that would be something, because then you're actually breaking it down into chunks that are tangible and achievable.
Yep.
And then you'll start feeling it because you're doing it.
Right.
Don't focus on results and seeing them right away.
Right.
We're so quick to jump on that scale. But I mean, if you keep to that schedule, whatever you set for yourself based on those goals, you have to like, you're going to see.
You'll see progress.
You'll see the progress.
You'll see change. And the nice thing with the process-oriented mindset is the goal is usually just one thing at the end, right? Whether it's a 2-week, a 4-week, a 12-week process.
Right.
The goal is just one gold star, one cookie at the very end. But creating the process-oriented mindset is you get these little victories every day that go so far with creating a positive mindset around your doing and with giving you that energy and that drive to keep pushing for it.
That is golden. That is golden, because clearly I'm not in the runnings for anybody's auditions. But when I finally got out of my little rut of like, I'm going to try to do something every day or just try to do something to contribute to some form of exercise, because it's better than not doing shit all the time. It's like you said, those little wins. And when I can like mark off on my calendar that I did something that day, you feel good. I mean, it motivates you to want to keep doing what you're doing. You may fall off. You don't have time to fall off, people, if you're going to audition. So we're not talking about that. Keep with it. You got it.
You got this.
But that's a way to get back on it if you do fall off, right? Just kind of going back to, like you said, what you set out as your process of getting to your end goal. I love that. See, people, it's possible. You got this. Okay, let me go to another question, though. Let's see. We talked about this midsection. Okay, fine. But no, I'm just kidding. You gave really great advice in terms of how to attack that section of your body. So you guys go back and listen to that part. When you're dancing during the season for 8 to 10 hours a week, what fitness routine is really advisable or necessary at that space? Because you have practice with the team, you have practice outside of to be ready for practice. Like, do you really need cardio in your life, or what would really be something that sustains you during the season?
Yeah, that's awesome, because that's evolved for me personally. Part of that was in my first few seasons. I was really focused on wanting to build a fuller body. So I tried to do more of that bodybuilding. I would actually be in the gym 2 hours a day, even on practice days.
I used to wonder how the hell you could do that too. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I remember this.
Bodybuilder workouts. And that took a toll. Like, that took a toll on my body, because if you think of a bodybuilder and then you think of a dancer, those are two different bodies made for two different things.
Oh my gosh.
And so it took a physical toll on my body. And so I really want to just suggest to women that are in this career, I mean, I know they already know they're not going to be in it for forever, but take care of your body, like now. Like when you start, to be able to do it for as long as you want to do, as opposed to having your body break
down on you.
Yeah,
because it will catch up and let you know.
It will. And if it doesn't catch up to you during your career, like if you get to have your full career that you wanted doing it, awesome, fantastic, but it'll catch up to you later.
Yeah.
And so a few years back, I had to make that like mental change and just realize that, you know, if I wanted to do the whole bodybuilding body and have that I could have that later down the road, but I really needed to focus on doing the workouts that were going to best support my body and what I put it through during the season.
Yeah.
And so, but that is definitely, I still stick by that strength training with lower weights, higher reps. For me, I always had a weaker post chain. So like those muscles, your post chain is everything from your neck to your shoulders, down your back, hammies, glutes. So that's our post chain. But those muscles, like my traps and shoulder blades, those muscles that help our posture.
And say that because you're on the sidelines holding these poses for, you know, all game long, or you're rallying for the crowd, and all of that is getting worked.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. Those are ones that I focus on
during season,
as well as the core, right? Because we're doing so much thrashing with the body. And because we are so heavy on our legs, we're dancing with our legs, then I try and go lighter. Lighter on legs. I still do legs, but just not heavy weight during the season. Right, exactly.
Got you.
But glutes, I mean, that's your power. That's your power as a dancer, and that's what's going to help stabilize your low back. A lot of low back pain actually comes from glute imbalances.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because you know what's my favorite little spot to give me woes in my post-retired life is lower back.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did that answer our question?
I think that did.
Okay,
moving on. Let's see. Well, we did touch on it a little bit, but people were asking, are there any fitness trends or styles out there that you would recommend? Like, is there anything that you try outside of your own workout regimen that you think is cool now, or you enjoyed it, or that you would recommend people try if they're in the I'm just trying things out space?
Yeah. I have a friend that works for Barry's. Barry's Boot Camp. It's more of an East Coast company, but it's starting to pop up over here in Washington and a few other places. But I like them because they are more strength training based. And then they also have a kind of like a HIIT running portion. And you can either choose to do 2 sets of the running or 2 sets of the strength training, or one of each. So I liked them personally. And it's fun just to kind of change up the routine and do that every now and then.
So is that true that you can actually plateau?
Yes.
Like if you do the same type of exercise, your body will just be like, I'm not responding anymore, kind of a thing?
I mean, there's multiple factors that play into it, right? So if you're on the same routine for 3 months, eventually your body is going to be like, okay, right? Like, we've done this. But also, if you're not increasing your weights, right?
Building up to, or yeah, there you go, progressing.
So you could stay on the same exercise and continue to progress the weight load.
Got you.
And you'll continue to see results. But eventually, it's good to switch it up, right? Because if you're only doing that one routine for 3 months, then that means we're not doing other muscles.
True.
Right?
True.
So, and that's why I kind of like the A-B split, where you're doing 4 strength training sessions a week. And then you kind of do your A workout which is going to be a full body workout of some sort, and your B workout, which will be a full body workout but working other muscles, or maybe that's going to be more of your almost HIIT day, or your lower rep or lower weight, higher reps, whatever it may be. Yeah.
And again, if people get like the expertise of a trainer, then they can really develop a plan, if you will, of what your workout regimen would be, where that will give you that trade-off from each day so that you won't plateau.
Right.
Potentially, or like less chance of it, I guess.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of trainers, like I have clients that I'll see once a week, and I create, or even once every 2 weeks, and I create a workout program for them that they can do on their own.
Oh, see, that's
and
great.
So then that once a week or once every 2 weeks is more of just like a check-in. How are things going?
Adjust my exercise the way I'm doing it.
Adjust it a little bit, or increase the weights, and then change up the program for them. And then I also have clients where I just do it all via like online. So I don't actually get to see them in person, and just kind of help keep them accountable that way.
Okay. Well, that's a good option for people too, that, you know, we all have crazy lives, crazy schedules, and maybe there is some virtual help out there too.
Definitely.
Do you have any apps that you like? You're not a fitness app girl?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. I don't know. You know how you get Instagram ads? It was like some freaking ab workout, because in my mind I was thinking, I'll target this area. It doesn't quite work that way, but yes.
I mean, you're building the muscle. You are building the muscle, which
Still
is great.
working on the fluff on top. Okay. Anywho, this is about you guys who are auditioning, not me. Let's see. We've talked about balancing, and just like I think if you mentioned with the schedule, if you're able to kind of look at your commitments while you're in season as a professional cheerleader and knowing your job, and then you figure out how to fit it in. So I think that was pretty instructive.
In terms of exercising? Yeah, I think the big thing is to listen to your body, to not get so hung up on, I have to do 4 workouts a week, or I'm not seeing results, I have to do 5 workouts a week.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I ran for Miss Washington USA. Wow, the way time goes by. Maybe that was 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
So, and I actually cut down the amount of days that I was working out going into it, and was eating more and more consistently.
Okay.
To get the leanest that I had ever been.
Wow.
And so that's where it goes back to when we talked about what to do, right, when you're getting that mindset right and you're creating that process-oriented goal. For me, I had to change my mindset. I enjoy working out, and I mean, it's what I do for my career, but it's also just one of my outlets.
Right.
And so I don't mind going to the gym 5 times a week and being in there for an hour or 2. But life gets busy, and I also just had to change my mindset and realize that I was mid-season. So I needed to account for practices and being able to go into practices and have my body give everything I needed it to give on those practice days and then game days. And so I was working out 3 times a week. The workout was maybe an hour and a half. And I just went in knowing that I was going to have strength training 3 times a week. So I was going to focus, knock it out, get the most out of each exercise, right?
Because you don't have all day.
Right.
Like, it's probably like just really making the most of the time that you have. And that's just probably what everybody's going to be juggling. Like, you might have kids, you might have a job, you might, you know, this concept of going to the gym or making time for the gym. You really do need to maximize your workouts and the time that you have for it, because
definitely
it's a lot to juggle.
Yeah. And then the other part of that was back to that nutrition that we spent a good amount of time talking about, of focusing on getting the right things in. I guess an app. I love MyFitnessPal. It's it's more for your nutrition.
Okay.
But it helps you count calories, and I'm not saying you should live by counting calories, but it is so awakening and educational and helps you become so much more aware of what you are putting in your body and what you're not putting in your body, right? That we could be putting in our body.
To fuel it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, right, because that's ultimately
will
what
it like
comes
tell
down
you
to.
like you did not really eat enough, you didn't get enough of this today? Or
It literally will break it down and be like, your goal was 150 grams of protein, and on the bar it'll show you got 90 grams of protein. Or that your goal was 100 grams of carbs and you had 200 grams of carbs.
Okay.
And every calorie is not equal. So a calorie of sugar is not the same as a calorie of protein.
What? No.
But so I don't want people to get so caught up on the calorie aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of becoming aware of what you're putting into the body and maximizing putting in more of the right things to fuel our body, right? Less of the wrong things. Yeah, exactly.
80-20, guys.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if what you're doing isn't bringing the results you're looking for, then listen to this episode again, because you probably missed something. No, I'm kidding. That was just one of the questions. Like, what if what you're doing isn't, you're not seeing results?
Yeah.
You have to change it up or get help, right?
Right. I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think it's going back to really stopping and taking a look. Okay, what am I doing? I'm spending an hour at the gym 3 days a week. How many exercise am I actually completing? Like, how much of that hour am I actually working out, right? And you know what? Maybe you are spending an hour and you're going in hard for that hour. Okay, let's look at our nutrition.
Okay.
Right? And you're like, okay, well, I don't eat that bad. Like, I don't eat junk food. I don't eat fast food, right? Like, I don't eat desserts or candy. Okay, but what are you eating? And are you putting enough of the right things in to not only fuel your body, but help your muscles build, right? Because our muscles actually need, it's like if your muscle is a building, right? Mm-hmm. Protein are the bricks.
Got you.
You can't build a building without the bricks. If you're gonna, right? If you're
just thinking about all the wrong things that you could put in and what effect it would have in building anything, like
right.
Nothing.
So if you're going in and tearing up your workouts like the badass I know you are, but you're not fueling your body properly to recover and rebuild, you're not going to get that lean, dense muscle, and you're going to have that softness that you'll think is fat. But right? It's not. And it might not necessarily be fat. It's just you don't have that lean muscle that creates that tightness, right? That we want, especially in this industry.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So more is not always better, right? So before you jump on the train of, I'm not working hard enough, I need to do 4 days a week or I need to do 5 days a week, look back at the nutrition. Okay. Because that nutrition, the balance between the nutrition, the working out, and then the recovery letting your body rebuild. Sleep.
We never get that.
We never get sleep.
But that's not a good thing.
And I am like the worst at sleeping. Lack of sleep increases the cortisol hormone, right? And that's the hormone that tells us to hold on to fat.
Okay, I'm going to sleep more. No, I'm kidding.
Right?
No,
I know. So nothing else.
Get some more rest. And that's so hard to do when you're juggling so much, you guys. But this is part of like self-love, like you said, taking care of your body. And what you were mentioning that I wanted to pick up on was just that level of honesty with yourself. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, if we can't look in the mirror and say, okay, I know I'm on Instagram, I'm not really working out that hard. You know, like I sweat, but I'm not really getting it. Like you have to be able to have those kind of conversations with yourself to know what you really need to focus on to get it together. Like, I mean, we can say whatever, and clearly I shouldn't be saying shit, but you really have to have that conversation with yourself to know what you are doing and aren't doing and how to get past all of that and get to getting and doing the things that you really want to do.
Definitely.
Dang, this episode is bomb, okay? Because, like, literally, like, if you were struggling with it and you just need that little, like, just reset to kind of get your mind wrapped around what you can do and what time you do have left for auditions, like, there's so much in here that I think will help people that it's ridiculous. Like, I'm going to listen to it and I'm not auditioning, but it'll just rearrange some of the things that I've been semi-doing, half-ass doing, not really doing. Like, it's just like if you really want to see some results in what you really are striving for, then you got to get your mind right. Okay, last question. How do you keep motivated to work out? What is your, like, this is well, see, you're in the industry, but what is your why? Because do you think that's important for people to have like a center of motivation so that when you are tired or you are feeling lazy, that you just, how do you keep motivated?
Definitely.
Or how do you keep your clients motivated?
Right. I think the why is so important, and the why for yourself, knowing why you're doing it and being true and honest with yourself of why you're doing it, and then also coming from a place of self-love as opposed to, like, if you're hate working out, like, right? Yes. Like hating on yourself, like shame working out, like shaming yourself into working out or shaming yourself into not eating that piece of cake. Yeah. It's not going to last. And you're just going to feel miserable the whole time.
That's so true.
But if you're doing it from a place of self-love, of self-improvement, then you're going to do it because you're like, no, like, I'm worth this. Like, I'm worth this time. I'm worth this effort. My health and my quality of life is worth investing in. And that's what I'm doing right now, right? I'm investing in myself. I'm investing into my dream or my job or my just
your
everyday.
Future, to be able to live a long and healthy life. I mean, that should be, motivation enough, because what we do now, like you said, it's going to either set us up for success later when we're done dancing, or it can catch up with us at some point anyway. The last question I think I have for you is just around, we've had episodes on this podcast around like the body image, and I mean, we have like the image that maybe the industry gives of what we should look like. We might have the director's viewpoint on what we should look like. How important is it to find what you define for yourself as your best self? Is that part of like the fitness journey where you're deciding, what, I like this part of me and I don't want to change it, or you know what I mean? Like, do you think that that's part of the journey as well?
Definitely. I think that is so a part of the journey, and it goes back to kind of what I talked about earlier and how my director at the time called me out on being too skinny. And what's funny is I look back at those pictures and I'm like, holy shite, I was too skinny, right? And it's not that that was my goal. I wasn't trying to be skinny. I enjoyed being athletic and I wanted to be strong. I just needed that other filter to help me see what that could look like. Right. And so I definitely do think that finding that place of what your best self is so important, because it's not going to be what the girl next to you looks like. It's not going to be what her weight is. It's not even necessarily going to be what her workout is, right? Like, so true. Some people are lucky and have fast metabolisms in their 20s and 30s, right? And they get to eat whatever candies they want. Right. And then there's me over here who I don't drink. I don't remember the last time I had fast food. And it's not because I'm trying to compete with anyone else or I'm trying to be better than anyone else. It's just because for me, I've gotten to a mindset where drinking or eating pizza or the easy foods to grab not only don't help progress my goal, but they actually work directly against my goal. And so the guilt of doing that to myself just outweighed the actually doing it. Right?
Because you don't want to do anything to your body that's going to make you feel like shit and regret it later. Like, that's where self-love comes in. It's like doing the right thing that versus something that'll make you feel like crap and guilt and shame and all those things that you mentioned. That you don't want that to be the motivator.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely.
Kelsey, thank you so much. Like, this has been like so. Who knows? You could just go on. This could be like 2 or 3 episodes. Literally.
Feel free to call me back in if they have more questions.
More questions. Well, every episode ends with some either lock or talk or drop it like it's hot questions that, we can pepper you with to get to know you better.
Okay.
But I can't let Kelsey Pesola be on this show without giving her some shit, because here's one thing you guys need to know about Kelsey. She has managed in all 9 seasons. I mean, I don't know what it's been like since I left the team, but this wonderful human next to me is habitually the latest person to any and every call time that would ever exist. From like practice to games, she's always coming in hot. Beautiful, flawless, but just coming in late. And so I want to hear like your worst showing being late. And I don't even know, like our director just kind of got used to it at a certain point. Like she's like, that's Kelsey, like she'll get here. Like it was just the cutest and funniest thing, because I don't know how you would do it, why you would be late, but I want to hear your worst story of being late to something while you were an NFL cheerleader.
Okay, well, no excuses. I just have a bad habit of, well, part of it was work, right? I would be at I'd be taking my last client until 5:30 and practice was at 6:30, so.
And you're not the type to rush anybody. I can see you giving your very last bit of attention and focus to the, that's you.
Right.
All day. Okay.
So, that was a good chunk of it. The other thing is I have this like mindset where I'm like, okay, let's be as efficient and effective as possible. So if I have like 5 extra minutes on this end, I can get this many things done in 5 minutes. And so usually the worst is if I was like, because y'all, I would plan so hard to try and be early to things. And it would get me there like 2 minutes early, which means like if the call time was 8, I would be there at like 7:58, right? But like in my head and in my plan, I was going to be there at 7:30, like calmly just sitting, maybe like meditating or napping in my car, whatever. And
I'm just laughing my ass off because there's just no way that you... I can't think of anything that you've been early to. That's what I'm laughing at.
I've gotten better. I've gotten better at it over the last couple of years. Simplifying my life, creating more breathing room. It also just makes it more enjoyable rather than running in as a hot mess. But it took me years to realize that trying to pack every little thing into every minute of the day is not the best way to go. Like, no matter how busy you think you are, no matter how important you think it is to get it done, right. There's time later. Like, don't have yourself running around like a crazy person like I did for 26 years of my life. But, okay, to get to the juicy part, there was this one time, it was a tryout day, actually.
Final auditions?
Final auditions, final auditions.
Where there's a show,
where there's a live show, there's a live production. It goes on at 4 o'clock, right? And I think our call time was like 2, maybe, or 1, whatever. We'll say 2 for the sake of the story, but
because she shows up at 5. Don't get me.
And so I did like I do every tryout audition morning. I got up early. I had my breakfast. I went and I ran over the routine several times at the gym. Went back home, showered, did my hair. Went to Susan, a beautiful friend and makeup artist that has worked with the Seahawks for many years.
Hey,
Susan. And I adore her, but the problem with us is her and I can get talking. And normally on game day, she's rushing so much, right, to get as many of us in her chair as possible. But on audition day, she likes to take her time with my face and everything to calm you and soothe you and get you in the right space, which is so amazing. And so we did that, and we lost track of time.
Shit.
And so, of course, by the time I look at the time, I'm like, yes, I needed to be out of here 20 minutes ago, at the least. And
oh my God.
So then I pack up, I rush out. Of course, it's pouring. Right.
Seattle.
Of course, the bridge is like clogged. So I'm taking back streets to try and get into downtown Seattle to the stadium. Nonetheless, I definitely left Susan's way too late. So I'm totally owning that this is 100% my fault. And
oh my gosh.
So during our tryouts, our particular tryouts, we have a short solo piece, we have our audition piece, and then we have our little speech, right, on whatever topic they gave us that year, and they give it to us a day and a half before, and most girls come with it prepped and ready to go. It stresses me out to think about it all weekend. I like to focus on the dance and then think of it that morning. Well, that morning I was a little rushed.
Preoccupied.
And so I still didn't really quite know what I was going to say for my even speech that morning.
Oh, my gosh.
And I walk in 30 minutes late, and I had to, like, run down the hallway because it was in the stadium in, like, the west wing.
Was there anybody even there to greet you at this point? Because you're, like...
I don't think so. No. I think I just, like, I'm sprinting down the hall, right? God. Like, with my bag and ripping off clothes as I'm going down this hall to get into just my two-piece.
Oh, my gosh.
Because by this time, she's already assigned everybody their numbers of what order they're trying out in.
Okay.
She's lined up.
She's probably already introduced us all to meet the judges.
No, it wasn't that time. So at least we do a pre-run through.
That's true.
And so she's doing the pre-run through, and we're divided up into, like, groups of 8. That we try out with that 8. We go out in that line at a time, and then we come off, right? And then they switch for the next group of 8. And each group of 8 gets to do a quick little run through to do their little solo routine, practice on the hardwood, see what that feels like, learn, right, how they're supposed to walk onto the stage and everything. And so I come in, they're already on their 3rd group of 8 because I'm 30 minutes late, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, the stress.
And they get done with that group of 8, music turns off, Sherry looks at me and she goes, "You're starting everything." And I was like, "I'll get it, like, I got it." And she's like, "No, like, you're leading everyone out." And I was like, "Don't worry, I got it." Like,
because that's how you come in. You're always like, got it. Mm-hmm, okay,
got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, Sherry's she's gonna get to the point. Like, show has to go on. She's like, her sternness and her voice said it all. And at that point, I just knew I needed to have my shit together.
Yes.
Start that walkout on those 2 8 counts, right, and just go for it. And so, right, I got to finish up that little kind of pre-run through, but I found out I was in the first group. I was number 8 in the first group, which meant I let us all out. I let the whole group out, and then I let my group out.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah.
But this is the funny thing about Kelsey. Like, now, had it been my behind that was coming in late, I think I would have been just, like, kicked off the team. But no, I mean, you just had this, like, relationship with Sherry where I think she just knew that she can depend on you and trust you, and not to be on time necessarily, but to, like, to do what she needed to do.
To show up and get it done.
But I just thought it was, like, the funniest thing to watch progress over the years because, like, it never really changed. But while I was there, I mean, she said she's gotten better.
I tried so hard. I really had the best of intentions
But she never, like, ripped you a new asshole over it?
I think the first couple, there was one time where she did, and that was because there was actually a full change in what time we needed to be at the stadium for a game.
Oh.
But she didn't realize that. She just assumed I was late, like always. Oh. And I wasn't going to, by the time I realized what she realized, I was like, well, there's no point in trying to explain it because she wouldn't even believe me anyways.
But you guys had a wonderful understanding of each other. I just think it's hilarious. I mean, because I can just imagine any game and thinking of you can hear you running into the locker room on game days.
Right. Like, I was right on time.
Before going out for pregame practice, right on time.
Yeah. Like if we needed to be there at 8:15, I was there at 8:14.
And 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
On the clock. No, but you've made it 9 amazing seasons in the NFL. I just really appreciate you sharing your background and expertise on this podcast because this is a big part of what we do, and a lot of people fumble in the dark with it. It affects their self-esteem, let's be real.
Definitely.
And so I just think it's a very, very positive discussion and a different way of looking at things because it is achievable. I think you set those goals in a process-oriented way, which I just freaking love that. You'll get there. I just feel like if people were struggling and scared shitless that they were going to, like, not be ready for auditions. And I can't see you guys. I don't know what you're going through and what your body looks like or whatever. And it doesn't really matter. It's just, let's just start that positive talk to yourself and get it because you can do it.
Definitely.
I just think it's just a breakdown of how we think about fitness in a way that you can actually achieve the goals that you're looking for. It's not unattainable.
No, not at all. And one last little, like, golden tidbit, little nugget. Common misconceptions, and for people looking for that, like, magic diet pill, water consumption. Like, actually drinking enough water. So I like to aim for 120 ounces
Okay. A day?
A day.
Okay.
And that's kind of my golden number to go to. Or you can go by body weight, or like when I was getting ready for Miss Washington, I was doing 1 gallon a day.
And it doesn't make you bloaty? I think we've had this conversation during the season before.
Yeah.
Because you were like, how much water do you drink? And I'm like, I mean, I'm sure it was terrible, but in my mind, I thought you drink a lot of water. I mean, yes, it's good for you and it's great, but like you drink too much and it'll make you bloated.
Right. So as we adjust, as we are consistent, right? Consistency is going to be the key, right? No matter what, exercise,
Can't just
eating,
gouge on a bunch
and
of water.
Right?
Yeah.
So getting consistently hydrated. So if you're not drinking any water right now, start with drinking 40 ounces a day for a week, right? Drink your 40 ounces.
Okay.
If you only have 2 weeks, maybe you're a little more aggressive about it and you aim for your 80 ounces a day, right?
Okay.
And then your 100 ounces a day. But build up that consistency. And what's funny is you'll notice once you've gotten into that, even like 2 weeks in, the day that you are behind on water that day because you're busy or whatever, you'll actually feel your body tell you like, I want water. But water actually is that magic weight loss pill. It allows all your organs to function optimally how they're supposed to be functioning, instead of everything focusing on trying to absorb every tiny bit of water that you have in whatever you're consuming. Right? So it's actually amazing for your skin, muscle tissue, building muscle.
Okay.
And then lets everything, your digestion, work optimally. So water.
Water, ladies.
Drink your water.
Okay.
And then with that, get the ions and electrolytes in. So maybe that's a noon tablet, or maybe it's just a little bit of sea salt on your chicken or your eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelsey, breaking it all down for the fitness episode. Thank you so freaking much. I can't even. The one time I wish I could have a transcript of the episode for people to download, but you'll just have to listen and listen again. But thank you so much. We are excited to hear about the fitness goals you guys set. Give examples of process-oriented goals that you mentioned and shared. Share it with your teammates. Share it with people who you're going on this auditions journey with. Have somebody to help you, hold you accountable. You can kind of try to introduce some of these things that you may have heard on the episode. It's great to experience it with someone and be like, yeah, girl, yes, this is working, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just going to be great.
Definitely.
Let us know. And if you have questions for Kelsey, I can help get it answered and we can get back to you. So
for sure. I would absolutely love to help any and all of you who are on this journey right now, because I have been there, I have done it, and it is totally doable. So please don't be a stranger. Feel free to reach out with any questions.
Okay. Bet.
Got you.
All right. Well, until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Key.
Thanks so much for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. You can follow your favorite podcast on social media at Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram, at Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can support your favorite podcast on Patreon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines.